Okay, this regular monthly meeting of the Morgantown Utility Board for Tuesday, November 14th will come to order. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting? Are there any objections or corrections? If not, may I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 10, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Do we have anyone from the public here to speak tonight? Did we receive any letters or memos or anything like that? Nothing? Okay. New business, Mike, Meadows.
Okay.
Meadows phase.
Yes, the Meadows Phase 2 sanitary sewer project. Is a developer-funded sanitary sewer main extension project. The project includes the construction of approximately 3,100 feet of 8-inch PVC gravity sewer main, 22 precast manholes, 350 linear feet of 12-inch steel casing that'll be installed by the open cut method, 80 single sewer service connections with cleanouts, and 2 double sewer service connections with cleanouts, and all the related appurtenances. We received 6 bids. Stone Paving submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $327,996, and it's my recommendation the board accept that bid.
Okay.
Have you worked with them before?
I believe that they have in the past. I can't recall a recent bid, but I recognize the name.
There's a pretty wild
Great.
distance between least expensive and most expensive,
Yeah.
and even between first and second. I just always want to make sure that we're not potentially running into trouble if somebody's underbid something.
They are currently on site now doing the site development, and so that is quite advantageous when you bid their job. So that's I think where the big savings comes in, big difference comes in. But the spread normally, the one contractor with the highest bid, we will see high bids from them. My understanding. So
Apparently have a deal on PVC too.
So they're the staff is very comfortable with the bid.
Okay, good.
That's what I was concerned with. Is there's $150,000 between the first and the second. That's kind of a lot of money.
It's triple on the high end.
Triple, yeah. Amazing.
And I just wanted to make sure that the quality's not being,
We will be
subjected to-
inspecting.
I figured you would.
Yes, definitely.
Trust but verify.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Do I have a motion?
I will move to accept the bid from Stone Paving in the amount of $327,996.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you need a second?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Morgan Run.
Yes, we've had a group of customers from Morgan Run approach MUB. This isn't the first time. They've been here before. They're out in the Cheat Lake area about extending water service to multiple properties. So the residents currently, they have wells, and they're low water producing wells. Many of the wells have iron and manganese, and so they've approached us about doing a main extension. And right now, the state of West Virginia has a program. It's a critical needs grant, and you can obtain up to $2 million from the West Virginia Water Development Authority. And so what we've done, pursuant to Public Service Commission rules for the government of water utilities, we're required to provide an estimate to any group of customers that has asked for service. And so we've prepared that cost estimate. It's about $3.7 million for the whole project. So there would need to be a loan for the difference if the $2 million is actually obtained, awarded to MUB. And so there would be that loan of $1.7 million. And so we would propose that at 40 years at a 1% interest rate through IJ West Virginia Infrastructure Jobs Development Council.
And they'll give it 1%?
The need
Wow.
for it. So that is the nice thing about the council. They do have funds and they can adjust those interest rates. So they have asked us to move forward with the application for the grant. So we'll have some work to do, put the application together. They do have to provide signed users agreements, and they did come back to us with those agreements. There were some of the agreements had some mistakes, and they're going to have to be redone. But the general interest is there, enough for us to say yes, they're serious about the project. They're ready. They want to go forward. And of course, if we don't obtain the grant, then no one, we would obviously have another meeting with the community and talk to them about it, because this is a significant loan, and it would have to be a tariff for that area that we would get payment back for that loan, and they would be responsible for it. And so we would we have to do some steps. We have a preliminary estimate. We need to do more on the design to make sure that estimate is still a solid estimate. Let's say those user agreements that need to be corrected, those need to be done, and then start the application. And we would need a motion from the board to authorize us to move forward.
Are they currently on our sewer service, or do they have?
No, they don't. They have septic.
Is that something that they would be interested in, or is that something that we would need?
I would
we're
think
pretty high near capacity out there as is.
Well, I don't think in where they're located, Eric, that and the cost. I think that cost would be just absolutely astronomical.
It's weird. So I know my mother-in-law lives out in Falling Water. You're out on Morgan Run getting into that. Whereabouts along Morgan Run are we talking about?
You want to go ahead?
Well, I'm not extremely familiar with that area, but keep going.
Okay, so all right, so it's quite a ways.
It's quite a ways. It also gets up to the border of PA.
Okay,
right on there.
Okay, yeah, because where it kind of wise off, you're still, I'd say, within probably 2,000 feet of our wastewater plant. Is what I was asking. That's for flies and that. But I know it goes all the way up to the Lakeland power station.
Okay.
Is this just 35 customers that would be serviced with this?
That's about the number of homes out there, and we had 27 signed agreements come in.
That's a big debt to take on with the limited number of people. So.
It certainly is, and it is, and we had the discussion about that, of course, with everyone, and I did notice that, or did make sure everyone understood that it's a 40-year loan, and we needed to sort of reflect on our ages.
Well, yeah, it's going to be carried
And
forward.
none of them are WVU employees, right? Faculty.
Well, I think the amount of money that they're spending hauling water right now way surpasses what this surcharge would be.
And
From
so
the point,
you bring up the point on age. This would be written in there, so it goes into whatever when and if they sell their homes. It's the
Have to be.
Yes, the users agreements would be binding on the next person, but so assuming for a moment that everything would fall into place and that this project would be a go, we would have to go to City Council for approval of the surcharge and the tariff. And so we would be coming to council and having that done, because that would encompass that area, and it would always be for that area.
Well, I moved to authorize staff to file an application with West Virginia Infrastructure and Jobs Development Council for a critical needs grant in the amount of $2 million and a loan in the amount of approximately $2 million that shall be funded by surcharge to the Morgan Run customers.
For a second.
second.
Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, old business again.
Okay. Cheap View Public Service District. So, in our last meeting, we talked about there was a problem with the last appointee with conflict of interest and couldn't serve on the board. And so the Mon County Commission has appointed Nick Webb to the Cheap View Board of Directors. Nick is an engineer. We know him very well here at MUB. He's an excellent gentleman. Jeff is coordinating with Tim Stranko to hold the board meeting to formally vote on the acquisition, which is tentatively scheduled now for Tuesday, November the 28th at 4 p.m. at the Cranberry Hotel, where we had our board meeting to talk about the Cheat Lake project. And so that would take place, which would be, that is the same evening as the Committee of the Whole. It would give us plenty of time to have that meeting and then get to City Council. And then, Dave, I hope you don't have anything. The board doesn't have to come to this meeting. The MUB board, if you'd like to come, Barbara has to come. We're going to make Barbara come, but the board is welcome to come if they'd like to. It's just not necessary. And so this is just this first step, and then it would go to the Mon County Commission, and that they would schedule that public hearing. And then it has to go to the Public Service Commission, and so there's multi-steps here.
All right. Onward and upward. Cheat Lake Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Okay, so we continue to have our bi-weekly meetings, and you're going to hear that time and again with Strand Associates. And I do want to say this. I feel like they are doing an excellent job, very thorough in what they're putting together for us in this design. We have filed the application, and Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about that with EPA?
Sure. There's a program with the don't have me give you the whole acronym, but we have filed what's called a letter of interest with EPA for a loan, and again, it's low interest. This is just the beginning step. We got it filed last week, acknowledged by the EPA.
It's actually the Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act is where this comes from. And so they've really expanded to who can qualify for these loans. And we understand they're very creative in this program. They really want to work with utilities. One of the things we had to do is obtain a credit rating from Moody's, and we were rated A1. So I thought that was really
Excellent.
Wow.
Kind of reminded me of the steak sauce, Barbara.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, so we've got an excellent rating, and so I think this really opens up a whole new avenue to MUB, because we can not just talk about this project with EPA, but all of our projects that are coming down the pipeline, and we very well have a possibility here to do like a master agreement where we would go through the process one time, and we wouldn't have to go through it time for each and every individual project. And so that's very encouraging to us, because we're always going to have something. Mm-hmm. We have the water plant right now with a high service pump, some of the work out in the distribution system that will also be part of that project. So we want to make sure we've mentioned that in our application, and so they're well aware that this is an opportunity to do a lot of business with MUB.
They like that too, from what I know from what Carrie and Brownfields, because they have something similar. They like that you have projects in the pipeline, and that it shows them that you're really future thinking, and they like that. So that those are points in your favor.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, office renovation.
So we've finished our review, and we're ready to coordinate a work session with the board to go over the final final layout and how the work study and everything flowed through. So I'll be sending an email out to the board and just trying to get some dates to where everybody can come up. We can all get together. This would be just a work session. No decisions to be made.
Okay, good. Legal Reservoir?
So we're, we see the light at the end of the tunnel here. I think is the best way to put it, Rich. You want to talk about what's going on, Rich?
Sure. Yeah. We're pretty much finished. We have some punch list items that still need to happen. Some small stuff. There's some fencing that they're installing this week along one of the property lines, and that's it. I mean, it's really small stuff now, and the city is, and I think they have a contractor on site now. Maybe they mobilized today. They're going to do some shoulder stone work along Coben Creek Road and some work on the parking area on the downstream side of the slope or of the dam. And so that's going to happen the rest of this week. Hopefully it's finished this week, and if not, first part of next week. And then, maybe we'll open the road back up and get things moving through there.
Bathrooms are installed, maintenance for that is all done, taken care of, all that stuff is done.
No bathrooms, so the only thing that's out there that wasn't part of our contract would be the parking lot, which is being graded this week.
I thought they were gonna, I'm mistaken, I think that's something else, I thought they were gonna put bathrooms in there, maintain them.
I think that'll be part of the project they do when they build the trail. So that'll probably come at the end of all of that.
That's the recreation piece.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think DNR's finished stocking for the year. They're not going to be doing anything else until maybe spring.
I think maybe a year. I think I heard they're going to allow what they've put in there now to have a good time period to reproduce and grow before they introduce another species of fish in. So next fall.
Dave can't wait to get his fishing
Or
rod out, or his kayak, or whatever.
I'm confident nobody's been up there.
Has anybody put a kayak on it yet?
Well, put it this way, not that we have found, but I wouldn't bet against it.
Oh boy.
Pretty body of water.
Yes. Windsurfing is next, right?
Yes. Yeah, we charge extra.
Oh boy. All right, Upper Pocono.
Okay, so staff has met with the L. Robinson project team and its right-of-way agent. So we've got, I think we received 2 more easements today, or I signed 2 more today of the 60. So I think it brings us up to 24, 25 easements now. We're running into the issue of absentee property owners and rental properties. So we're having a bit of a challenge locating everyone, I think over 90% of the property owners have been contacted, but getting those right-of-ways back is they're not coming back as fast as we would like.
Mm-hmm.
And we have as in any project where you're going to have rights-of-ways, you have a few that kind of holding off to see, what maybe can occur, between the parties. So we're hopeful we can, maybe get a big jump on that. But it is probably one of the biggest right-of-way projects we've done. Normally the MUB would do those, but given the number, it was just more than we wanted to chew off internally. And so had E.L. Robinson take care of that. So it again is the rental units, and it's just getting them back. And the only outstanding permit right now are the floodplain permits, and so things are, other than the right-of-ways are not as fast as we'd like, they are moving along.
Will that slow the project down potentially with the right of way issue?
Well, yes. I mean, we can't go to bid till we have right of entry everywhere. So if we'd have to have minimum of that before we would even want to bid.
We have to have 100%.
Yeah, right of entry. Yeah, if so, that means if we did have to do a condemnation, we'd have to have that order beforehand. Because you can't, if you sign contracts with a contractor and they can't get on a piece of property, then you're responsible for the delay in the project.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't want that to happen.
It would seem so easy until you try to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, getting 60 people to sign it right away, that's time consuming. I can see
Mhm.
that.
That's a challenge in itself, but then if you can't find them, it's a whole other.
Yeah, so we've got 36 left to go. Wow. All right. Keep going. I think that takes us to EPA Brownfields grant.
Okay, I'm going to let Rich talk about that one because he was there part of that meeting.
Yeah, so we had a public meeting to discuss the analysis of brownfields cleanup, APCA, one of the EPA required reports, and it's just the next step after that report is completed. There's a 30-day public comment period associated with that and a public meeting that goes along with that. So that was the step that I think the 30-day comment period finished yesterday, I believe, maybe the day before. And so our consultant, Greenbrier Environmental Group, is gathering all of those comments that we will have to submit those back to EPA and provide our comments on those as part of that. And if there's really the way it's supposed to work is if there's any comments that might change that report, then those revisions need to occur before it's finalized through EPA. Beyond that, they're working through the bid documents for the demolition of the two buildings, and that's supposed to be, turned around very quickly. It's supposed to be, I think the last time I heard from GE is at the end of this 30-day comment period, we should be pretty close to having bid documents ready to go out. So we're hoping to get those out soon so that we can get moving a little bit. But it's a slow process. The EPA process that we're going through is kind of slow. And then once the buildings come down, our site then gets submitted and entered into the volunteer remediation program through the state of West Virginia, which has its own process to go through. So you just got to go through it. And so it's not quick, but we'll make sure we follow all those steps.
Could you speak to the remediation process and the different levels of the type of remediation to allow different types of uses of the property?
Not well, but other than that, there are those things. So contaminated sites, depending on what you want the end use to be, there are certain things that you would need to do to clean up the contamination to allow for those things, whether it's industrial or commercial or residential or recreational. There are different levels of remediation.
Is capping containment one of the strategies?
So capping is something that is what is being recommended by Greenbrier for this site, and that would allow for any type of reuse, depending on what the cap is and how. We're not to the point yet where we've designed anything,
Right.
but I think that's the word from our consultant is that when you're capping it, those different levels, it doesn't matter. So it kind of takes all that out of the way. So you're not really removing contamination other than capping it, which allows for all of those things to happen.
Sure. Thanks.
We'll know more as we go on.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Sure.
I'm talking a little bit over my head here too, so.
You're doing well.
I know that then if you plan to drill into the ground to do things like irrigation or whatever, that you have to do other things to make sure that it complies with remediation standards, depending on the use. If it's just going to be commercial use and you're not going to do anything like that, then you can cap it and go, and that's
There will be, so once it goes through the VRP process, there will be restrictions on the property. And that, whether it's excavation restrictions or water, whatever those restrictions are, there will be some, that kind of dictates how you can use it going forward.
Okay.
And the high service pump house project that we've talked about, that site is one of the is part of the property being considered. So but nothing has been decided yet. It's still, they're still working on the preliminary engineering report at this time.
Okay. Westridge, Chaplain Hill.
So the design is basically completed now, which is great, and we are working on a few right-of-ways and permits, and I think there's some geotechnical work that has to be completed, but it is moving right along.
Very good. All right. General Manager's report.
So it kind of just flows
Go right on in
doesn't
there,
it?
yes.
So Mecca 911 Center, water and sewer projects, we are finished. We've installed 1,750 feet of 8-inch water line and 1,300 feet of 8-inch sewer line, and we've completed all the reclamation. So we are buttoned up and out of there.
Check that one.
Check that one off. Yes, another very successful project.
All right.
So, Morgantown City Council Committee of the Whole, MUB has been requested to present an update to City Council during the Committee of the Whole meeting about projects that we have going on at MUB and where the City Council and MUB will be working together, how we'll dovetail into these certain projects. And Dave, if you have anything you'd like to add?
We haven't really had any discussions at City Council about it, so I don't think there's anything in particular outstanding. Just I think a nice overview summary update where projects that are moving forward that don't necessarily need to come to the city, and then those that do and where they are in the steps of moving in that direction for council to vote on. So I think that's what I am envisioning is expected or hoped to be delivered.
Great.
Good.
When is the meeting?
Last Tuesday of the month,
November
so
28th.
2020.
I'll be there.
That's the same time you're supposed to be at.
It'll be after that. Following that.
Yeah, our meeting will start at 7, so hopefully your meeting won't last that long.
No.
But,
I would not envision our meeting going past 4:30.
Maybe Committee of the Whole will last till 7:30.
No. We have a little more to say than that.
And my organization will be presenting after too,
Is that right?
or hopefully in your guys' case after, not before.
Oh, which I do want to ask you, Dave.
Mhm.
What do you know what the agenda is? Who's going to be on the agenda?
I don't yet. I do not.
Okay.
Because we still have a regular meeting.
Oh, that's before that.
That's before that. I don't have that agenda yet either.
Okay.
Dave is a professional meeting attender.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, well, yeah. Dave has his share of
Oh
them.
boy.
Wow.
I'll say.
So, Acorn Village, the stormwater project, that's a project we're doing with Strand. They're doing a PER for us right now, looking at improvements of stormwater in that area. They've had a lot of trouble over the years. So we have a progress meeting with them tomorrow. So I can't really tell you much more than we're going to have another meeting, and I'll report back to the board at the December meeting. And that's all I have under the general manager's report this evening.
Okay. Do any of the board members have issues they'd like to bring forward, or discussions, or comments?
Appreciate the updates on everything.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I would like a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move to convene an executive session of the Board of Directors under the provisions of West Virginia Code Section 69A-412 to discuss confidential matters and matters which are exempt from disclosure under the West Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, could I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved and seconded and passed, and therefore we will have a 10-minute break between so that we can get ready.
Are we adjourning upon
And
completion?
when
of
we're
the-
done, yes, we will adjourn the meeting upon completion of the executive session.